I saw the post on Mom's Insta, a picture of her, Dad, and Sarah in front of the Eiffel Tower. My Eiffel Tower, the one I'd paid for. The one I was supposed to be enjoying with them. How could they? How could they do this to me? What would you have done? The memory still makes my blood boil. 5 years. 5 years I'd been practically supporting them, paying their mortgage, covering medical bills, even slipping Sarah, my oh-so-talented but permanently unemployed younger sister, cash when Mom guilt-tripped me. All those late nights, the endless overtime, the joyless weekends. It was all for them, for their happiness, for their security. I thought they appreciated it. I really did. The original plan was simple. A luxurious 1-week trip to Europe, Paris, Rome, maybe a quick stop in London. First-class flights, 5-star hotels, Michelin star restaurants. The works. A thank you for all their years of, well, being parents. A small token of my appreciation for all they had done. It was going to be our trip. Me, Mom, and Dad. Then Sarah lost her, whatever she called it, her creative consulting gig. Translation, she got fired for being late and uninspired. Again, cue the waterworks, the guilt trips, the she's having such a hard time, Victoria. Can't you be a little more understanding? Spiel from Mom. I held firm. This was my trip. I'd earned it. I deserved it. Or so I thought. A week before we were supposed to leave, Mom called. Her voice was tight, strained. Victoria, darling, she began, the darling dripping with saccharine guilt. We have a slight change of plans. I braced myself. This couldn't be good. Sarah really needs this, honey. She's been so down. A change of scenery would do her a world of good. We thought maybe she could come with us. I couldn't breathe. I just couldn't. Are you serious? This was supposed to be our trip. You know, mother-daughter bonding. The kind we haven't had since I was like 12? Oh, honey, don't be like that, Mom cooed. It'll be fun. Think of it as a family vacation. And you know Sarah, she needs us right now. So what you're saying is, my hard-earned money is now paying for Sarah's pity party in Paris. The words tasted bitter on my tongue. Don't be so dramatic, Victoria. We'll still have plenty of time together. We'll just include Sarah. Include Sarah. As if she were an afterthought. As if my feelings, my contributions, my entire existence were secondary to her perpetually unemployed daughter. I hung up. I needed to think. I walked to the window, the neon city lights flashing over the wet pavement. The rain seemed to mock me, each drop a tiny reminder of my own foolishness. I'd been so busy trying to make everyone else happy, I'd forgotten to take care of myself. What would you have done? Would you have caved? Would you have swallowed your anger and gone along with it, pretending everything was okay? I didn't. I canceled my flight. Let them enjoy their Parisian pity party. I wasn't going to be their ATM anymore. But the hurt, the betrayal, it festered. It gnawed at me. And then a few days later, something even stranger happened. I got a message on Insta, a direct message from an account I didn't recognize. Just a single line, check Sarah's blockchain wallet. Blockchain wallet? Sarah? Since when was she into crypto? Sarah, who couldn't balance her checkbook, suddenly dabbling in decentralized finance. It didn't add up. My curiosity, fueled by the lingering resentment, got the better of me. I did some digging. I'm pretty good with computers, thanks to my job in cybersecurity. I managed to trace the anonymous account, but it was a dead end. A burner phone, a fake profile. Still, the message had piqued my interest. I remembered Sarah mentioning something about a new app for tracking expenses with friends. It used blockchain technology for secure transactions. I downloaded it, created a fake account, and started poking around. And then I found it. Sarah's public key. Just sitting there, easily accessible. It was like she wanted me to find it. Or maybe she was just that clueless. Either way, I plugged it into a blockchain explorer. a tool for viewing transaction history, and boom, my jaw dropped. Thousands of dollars, moving in and out of her account, regular deposits, often in suspiciously round numbers. 5,000 here, 3,000 there, far more than any creative consulting gig could possibly generate. And the transactions? They were linked to a series of shell corporations registered in the Bahamas. This was way beyond laziness. This was something else entirely. This was illegal. My phone buzzed. Another anonymous message. This time, it was a single picture. A screenshot of a bank statement. My mother's, showing a significant transfer to Sarah's account. The description. Loan repayment. Loan repayment. For what? Sarah never paid anyone back. I tried to call Mom, but she didn't answer. I was starting to piece things together, and the picture was horrifying. Sarah wasn't just unemployed. She was something else. And Mom was involved. What was going on? I needed answers. I booked a flight to Paris. I arrived in Paris feeling like a detective in a film noir. The city of love felt cold and sinister. I checked into a small, unassuming hotel a few blocks from the fancy place I'd originally booked for my parents. No champagne and chocolates for me. Just a cramped room and a gnawing sense of dread. I started my investigation at the hotel. I pretended to be a travel blogger, casually asking the concierge about my parents' stay. He was surprisingly chatty, eager to impress a potential influencer. He confirmed they'd been there for several days, along with Sarah. He even mentioned Sarah's generous spending habits. Apparently, she'd been charging everything to the room, racking up a substantial bill. Champagne, designer clothes, expensive dinners, all on my dime. Or, more accurately, on my parents' credit card, which I was still paying off. That night, I followed them. I know, it sounds crazy, but I had to see for myself. I tracked them from the hotel to a swanky restaurant in the Marais district. They were laughing, joking, seemingly having the time of their lives. Sarah was wearing a new dress, no doubt purchased with my money. Mom was beaming. Dad looked uncomfortable. After dinner, they strolled along the Seine, hand in hand. Or rather, Mom and Sarah strolled hand in hand. Dad trailed behind, looking like a lost puppy. I kept my distance, hiding in the shadows, feeling like a ghost haunting their perfect vacation. Suddenly, Sarah stopped. She pulled out her phone and started filming. Mom struck a pose, laughing and twirling. Dad just stood there, looking miserable. "Okay, Mom, say something witty," Sarah said. Her voice dripping with false enthusiasm. Mom cleared her throat. "Having the time of my life in Paris with my two beautiful daughters. So grateful for this amazing experience. 2 daughters, I was standing right there, invisible, erased from their narrative. I wanted to scream. I wanted to confront them right then and there. But I didn't. I knew that wouldn't accomplish anything. I needed proof. I needed to understand what was really going on. I knew he wasn't as complicit as Mom. He had a conscience. He might be willing to talk. I found him alone in the hotel lobby, reading a newspaper. He looked surprised to see me. "Victoria, what are you doing here?" he asked, his voice laced with guilt. "I could ask you the same question, Dad," I said, my voice dangerously low. "What's going on, Dad? What's Sarah doing with all that money?" He hesitated. He looked around nervously. I don't know what you're talking about, Victoria." "Don't lie to me, Dad. I saw the transactions. I saw the bank statement. Sarah's involved in something shady, and Mom's helping her." He sighed. He ran a hand through his thinning hair. "It's complicated, Victoria." "Complicated how? Are you in trouble, Dad?" I was genuinely worried now. I may have been angry, but I still cared about him. He shook his head. No, nothing like that. It's just Sarah's been having some financial difficulties." "Financial difficulties?" "That's why she's getting thousands of dollars from shell corporations. That's why Mom's sending her money. What kind of financial difficulties are we talking about, Dad?" He looked down at his shoes. She made some bad investments, Victoria. A few years ago, she lost a lot of money. She needed help. What kind of investments? And why didn't she tell me? I would have helped her. She was ashamed, Victoria. She didn't want you to think she was a failure. And your mother, she just wanted to protect her. Protect her by helping her break the law? He didn't answer. He couldn't. I knew he was hiding something big. Dad, please, tell me the truth. What's really going on? It's about the house, Victoria. The house? Our childhood home? What could possibly be wrong with the house? Sarah, she took out a loan against the house, Victoria. A second mortgage, without our knowledge. She forged your mother's signature. My blood ran cold. Forged Mom's signature on a mortgage? That was criminal. How much? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. $100,000. $100,000. And she'd lost it all. Gone. Up in smoke. And the shell corporations. The money coming into her account. That's to pay back the loan? He nodded. Your mother, she's been working with Sarah to try to cover it up. She's been using her savings, borrowing from friends, anything to keep you from finding out. But why? Why go to such lengths to protect Sarah? Why risk everything for her? Why, Dad? Why would they do this? They're afraid, Victoria. They're afraid of what you'll do if you find out. They're afraid you'll cut them off. They're afraid you'll abandon them. Abandon them? After everything I'd done for them? After years of supporting them? They thought I would abandon them over money. I felt a wave of anger wash over me, hotter and more intense than anything I'd felt before. They'd betrayed me. They'd lied to me. They'd risked my financial security, my future, all to protect Sarah, the golden child, the perpetual screw-up. I walked away from Dad, my head spinning. I needed to get out of there. I wandered aimlessly through the streets of Paris, the city suddenly feeling like a prison. The tourists, the cafes, the romantic atmosphere. It all seemed so fake, so meaningless. I ended up at the Sacré-Cœur Basilica, the white dome gleaming in the evening light. I climbed the steps to the top, overlooking the city. Paris stretched out before me, a vast and glittering landscape of betrayal and deceit. I pulled out my phone. I had a choice to make. I could expose Sarah. I could report her to the authorities. I could ruin her life. She deserved it, didn't she? After all, she'd forged my mother's signature, stolen $100,000, and dragged my family into a web of lies and deceit. But what about Mom? She was just trying to protect her daughter. She'd made a mistake, a terrible mistake. But her intentions weren't malicious. She was just desperate. And Dad? He was just caught in the middle, a pawn in their twisted game. Could I really destroy my family? Could I live with the consequences of my actions? I thought about all the years I'd spent supporting them, the sacrifices I'd made, the dreams I'd put on hold. Was it all worth it? Had I been a fool to believe in their love, their loyalty? My phone buzzed. It was Mom. Victoria, please call me. We need to talk. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. What would I say? How could I confront them? I decided to go back to the hotel. I needed to face them. I needed to know the whole truth. When I arrived, Mom and Sarah were waiting for me in the lobby. They looked pale and nervous. Victoria, Mom said, her voice trembling. We know everything. Everything? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Do you know that Sarah forged Mom's signature on a mortgage? Do you know that she stole $100,000? Do you know that you've both been lying to me for years? They both looked down at their feet. We're so sorry, Victoria, Sarah said, her voice barely audible. We didn't want to hurt you. But you did hurt me, I said, my voice shaking with emotion. You betrayed me. You lied to me. You made me feel like I was nothing. We know, honey, Mom said, tears streaming down her face. We were wrong. We should have told you the truth. We were just trying to protect Sarah. Protect her? At my expense? At the expense of our entire family? We know, Victoria. We're so ashamed. We'll do anything to make it up to you. Anything? I asked, a glimmer of hope flickering in my chest. "Yes, anything," Mom said, her voice filled with desperation. "Then tell me the truth," I said. "Tell me everything. No more lies, no more secrets." They hesitated for a moment, then Mom began to speak. She told me the whole story, from the moment Sarah took out the loan to the present day. She told me about the shell corporations, the secret bank accounts, the desperate attempts to cover up the truth. As she spoke, I felt a wave of sadness wash over me. Sadness for my family, for the lies we'd told ourselves, for the love we'd lost. When she was finished, I looked at Sarah. "Is it all true?" I asked. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "Yes, Victoria, it's all true. I'm so sorry." I looked from Mom to Sarah, then back again. I knew what I had to do. "I'm not going to report you to the authorities, Sarah," I said, "but you need to pay back the money, every single penny." Sarah nodded, her eyes wide with relief. "I will, Victoria, I promise. I'll get a job. I'll sell everything I own. I'll do whatever it takes." "And Mom," I said, turning to her, "you need to be honest with me. From now on, no more secrets, no more lies." She nodded, her face etched with remorse. "I'll never lie to you again." I took a deep breath. It wasn't the perfect ending, but it was a start. I decided to extend my stay in Paris. It wasn't easy. The trust was broken. The scars were deep. But we were trying. We talked. We cried. We laughed. We shared stories. We remembered the good times. I realized that even though they'd hurt me, they were still my family. And I still loved them. Before I left, I had one last conversation with Sarah. "I'm giving you a chance, Sarah," I said. "Don't waste it. Don't let me down again." She looked at me, her eyes filled with sincerity. "I won't, Victoria. I'll make you proud." I flew home feeling a mixture of relief and exhaustion. The trip to Paris had been a nightmare, but it had also been a turning point. It had forced me to confront the truth about my family, about myself, about the choices I'd made. I didn't forgive them completely, not yet. But I was willing to give them a second chance. Back in the States, I decided to take some time off work. I needed to focus on myself, on my own happiness. I started exercising, meditating, and spending time with friends. I even started dating again. A few months later, I got a call from Sarah. She'd gotten a job, a real job. Not some creative consulting gig, but a steady, stable job with benefits. She was working hard, saving money, and slowly paying back the loan. I was proud of her. Maybe, just maybe, she was. A year later, the loan was paid off. Sarah was thriving. Mom and Dad were happier than I'd seen them in years. We were still a family. A flawed family, a broken family, but a family nonetheless. I learned a valuable lesson from that experience. I learned that love isn't always easy. It's not always perfect, but it's always worth fighting for. I also learned that sometimes the greatest act of revenge is forgiveness. I could have destroyed my family. I could have ruined their lives. But I didn't. I chose forgiveness. And in doing so, I freed myself. Now, what would you have done? It's a tough call, isn't it? To forgive or to seek justice. Looking back, the anonymous messages were likely from someone Sarah had wronged in the past. Someone who knew about the forged documents and wanted to expose her. I never found out who it was, but I'm grateful for the push. It forced me to confront the truth, however painful it was. As for Sarah, she's completely changed. She's now a financial advisor, helping people avoid the mistakes she made. Irony, right? My parents? Well, we're closer than ever. The experience forced us to be honest with each other, and it's made all the difference. So what's the moral of the story? Maybe it's that family secrets always come out. Or maybe it's that forgiveness is the most powerful weapon of all. But for me, it's this. Never underestimate the power of a good blockchain explorer. Now it's your turn. Write in the comments what you'd choose, revenge or forgiveness. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more true crime-inspired stories. It's funny, isn't it? How one little message, One tiny piece of information can unravel an entire life, like pulling a thread on a cheap sweater. Before I knew it, the whole thing was falling apart, all because of that blockchain wallet. I started thinking about the trip to Europe, all the little details I'd overlooked, the things that didn't quite add up, like why was Sarah so insistent on choosing the restaurants? And why was Mom always so quick to agree with her, even when it was something outrageously expensive? It wasn't just about wanting a free vacation. It was about controlling the narrative, making sure I didn't see anything I wasn't supposed to see. I remembered one evening in Rome, before I canceled my flight, Mom insisted we go to this ridiculously fancy restaurant near the Trevi Fountain. Sarah kept looking at her phone like she was expecting a message or something. She even excused herself a couple of times to take calls outside. Now I realize she was probably coordinating those shady transactions. I had been so blind, so trusting. I was determined to never let it happen again. But things didn't magically improve overnight. It took months, years even, to rebuild the trust. There were setbacks, arguments, moments when I thought it was all going to fall apart again. Sarah relapsed a few times, going back to her old habits of overspending and making impulsive decisions. But each time, she caught herself. She learned from her mistakes. And eventually, she turned her life around. Mom had a harder time. The guilt ate at her. She couldn't forgive herself for betraying me, for putting Sarah's needs ahead of mine. It took a lot of patience and understanding on my part, but eventually, she started to heal too. One thing I never fully understood was where Sarah got the idea to forge the signature. I mean, it's not exactly a skill you pick up on YouTube. One evening, I was helping Dad sort through some old boxes in the attic. We were reminiscing about old times, laughing at silly memories. And then I found it. A book on forensic document analysis. It was Mom's. Apparently, she'd taken a course on it years ago, just out of curiosity. I showed it to Dad, and he just shook his head. "Your mother always had a knack for details," he said. "I guess Sarah inherited that from her." So that's how she did it. She used her mother's knowledge to commit the crime. It was almost comical if it wasn't so tragic. It made me wonder what else was Mom hiding. I started noticing other things, small inconsistencies in her stories, little white lies that didn't quite make sense.